County Conservative Patriot News with your host, Michael Parker. Covering news from around the county, the city of Coldwater, the tri-state area, and the nation. We are here to give you real news with commentary, live call-ins, and interviews with local guest speakers. Coming to you live stream via Facebook. Now, here's your county reporter, Michael Parker.
Hey, thanks for tuning in once again to Branch County Conservative Patriot. My name's Mike Parker. So, I'm going to have to work on doing a new intro because looks like the ice and the snow might be gone, maybe for the rest of the year. I guess I would probably be cautious and say don't count on it, but the way the weather pattern has been for our state so far this year, it's been crazy, off everywhere. As usual, before I start the broadcast, the opinions that are talked about, information that's talked about on this broadcast are the opinions of myself. Research has been done by myself. And in no ways regards do they affiliate with themselves with anyone else, including any city officials, government officials, or state officials, or nationwide officials. All the research is done on my own, and I take complete accountability and responsibility for it. In addition, once again, I would like to also make it known so that you understand fully. You can make comments during our live stream at the comment section right below, just as you would making comments on a post. I see your comments. They'll come in on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel if you're tuning in from there also. And so I'll be able to see your comments. I can read your comments. We can show them on screen. And if you would like to even participate starting next Sunday on our next live stream, if you want to participate, you want to be a guest, you got a question, you got a complaint, you don't like me, you don't like what I got to say, just don't be belligerent, don't cuss and swear. There'll be a link that will be listed below the live stream as soon as it starts. And that link will allow you to click on it and it accesses your phone. You say yes to the microphone and your video, and then type in your name, and then it'll bring you right into my live studio, and then it'll line up to 12 participants at a time, one right after another. And we could have as many as 12 people on at one time, but it would be probably a slugfest. But anyway, if you would like to call in that way and ask your question, or even discuss some of the things that we're involved in and have any questions or comments or concerns, starting next Sunday, you'll be able to do that. All right, so let's talk about first right off bat. It was posted on the Coldwater scam page that we are moving forward. The gentleman who's involved with that and who is also involved with the attorneys is going to go ahead and move forward with suing the city on a second lawsuit in regards to the Justice Fence project that's going to replace the fence over on Bennett and also on Waterworks Park area, the 1,600 linear foot fence. They have that information in front of them. Tomorrow night at 5:30 is the city council meeting. It's being presented to the Board of Public Utilities and also the city council. After reading the information that was through Freedom of Information Act in regards to what the process was to legitimize the bidding process, I looked it over and Coldwater Scam looked it over. We all came to the conclusion that it just doesn't fit right. It doesn't fit right. It doesn't pass the smell test. And so they will be moving forward with a lawsuit in reference to that and litigation as far as to stop the repair of the fence until we either receive all the information that we requested in reference to first Freedom of Information Act, or they rescind the bid, and the other bidders, the other vendors that were involved in bidding the process come forward and are able to bid on the process again. Just long story short, folks, I'm just going to be honest with you. This has just turned into one big can of worms. it's a big can of worms, and it got opened up by watching the live stream of the Board of Public Utilities video when they met. And so this is how we get involved as citizens. We're trying to be. We want transparency just as much as they do, and we want the truth given out to us just as much as they want the truth from us when we discuss things. So I would be very cautious, and especially when you get online and you make comments. So I want to reiterate this one more time, and I might probably continue to do it every time we do a live stream. But be very cautious. Don't let your emotions take control on the keyboard. Don't say all kinds of stuff that you're going to regret later. You know, you don't make accusations and form them in a sentence that could be interpreted as being a threat or an accusation that is true based on what you're saying. In other words, Billy Bob, the word alleged has to be there. Billy Bob allegedly broke into the marijuana store on US 12. He allegedly broke into it, and he allegedly took $500 worth of weed. You're not accusing him of doing it. You're using the word alleged, stating that he is being accused of it, but you're verifying that. You're agreeing with that. You don't put in there and say Billy Bob's a thief and he stole all that weed. You just can't say that. Even if you know that it's true, you can't say it, because if Billy Bob's been arrested and he's being indicted for this particular crime, there is a court of opinion that gets published all the time on TV and on video and stuff. And lawyers come forward and journalists come forward and they say things that are of a legal nature that doesn't get them in hot water. It's when they say things of an illegal nature that gets them in hot water. George Stephanopoulos found out that the hard way by making the statement that President Trump had been accused of the R word. And I can't say it because I'll get the entire video once it's checked by YouTube and Facebook. They'll just completely remove it. But he stated that he committed the R word to Nancy Mace while he was interviewing her. I don't know if you've seen the interview or not, but he stated that he did. Now, that might be the opinion of you. You might have the same exact opinion. You might agree with George. Well, George got sued and ABC got sued for $15 million, and President Trump won. So, because he wasn't convicted of the R word. So this is where I'm, and it gets even worse as things progress within court. So if someone hasn't even been indicted yet, they've only been arrested, alleged. If someone has been arrested, they've been indicted, and there's been a court case, alleged. Somebody been indicted, there's been a court case, they've been arrested, and the court case is over with, and there's been a conviction. They were convicted for stealing 5 marijuana cigarettes and not $500 worth of marijuana. You got to be cautious, because then you run into the defamation of that person's character because they only stole 5 cigarettes instead of the $500 worth of marijuana. You see this? And then what happens is that some of you don't realize this, but if you are sued for defamation and slander, you might as well just kiss your mortgage goodbye, kiss your house goodbye, your cars, everything. People go nuts, and it will bankrupt you, or you'll work the rest of your life paying it off. So please be very, very cautious when you make statements about someone in the nature of an alleged crime. Now, we all have opinions. We all get online. We all say all kinds of things when it comes to, our personalities and characteristics. I'm guilty of it myself. I've referred to people as being out of their mind, crazy, dog vomit, you name it, especially protesters. And I'm a pro-Trump. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not ashamed to say that. I voted for him, and I'd probably vote for him again. I don't know whether or not the things that President Trump was accused of and alleged that he had done, even though he went to court and was found guilty of some of those things, court case after court case after court case is being retried and in the appellate. and each one is being handed a victory through the Supreme Court. Now, you may sit there and say, oh, it's all rigged. He's guilty. He's guilty. He's in the Epstein files. There's pictures of him in the Epstein files. He's been with young girls. He's been trafficking young children. Oh my gosh, you've got to be so careful about what you say. I mean, you may feel that in your heart, and you may think that in your mind that he is, but you have absolutely no proof that he is. And if you go online saying that stuff, I'm telling you, the White House is the madhouse right now. And they're looking for every way that they can to make sure that Americans have freedom of speech, but there's consequences for making that freedom of speech inaccurate. So be cautious about what you say. And another warning I'd like to give to you, as spring arrives and the weather's going to get a little bit warmer, and we notice that at that time, we're going to see a lot more transients and more of the homeless will be out on the streets. And this is not picking on our homeless community, because we all need to help them. Some way, somehow, we all need to pitch in and help. Just like the community is helping all of the families right now that are suffering over in Union City and Three Rivers. We need to figure out what we can do as a community. And one of the things I will be discussing with the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow night at 5:30 is developing some type of a comprehensive plan that's going to help take care of the homeless. It doesn't have to solve the homeless problem, but help take care of it. Instead of relying on this particular agency, this particular agency, this particular agency, and then donations come in to those, and they basically get to pick and choose. I'm talking about rehabilitation programs, things that that can be done. And I have a real heart for this. My youngest daughter spent 2.5 years out on the streets, involved in drugs, involved and seeing human trafficking in St. Joseph County, seeing it happen. It can happen here. It may already be happening here in this county. So the homelessness situation, young girls who may be homeless, we're just one hiccup away from our economy collapsing. One minor thing that could happen. It could be another subprime mortgage crisis. It could be the war with Iran. It could be a pandemic that there's no cure for, and that we all get locked down again. We're just one event away from seeing the economy collapse and then trying to recover from that, and people wind up being on the streets, homeless. They can't afford the rent. We know here in Coldwater and Branch County, our rents went through the roof. And this particularly happened and started right around COVID, when COVID ended, and it went forward because of that. And we all know there's other reasons why. So I caution you on referencing to understanding how important it is to be prepared. And that brings us to the tornadoes that happened in Union City and also in Three Rivers, and being prepared. Now, I made a comment and posted on the webpage that we go to, the nosy neighbors of Branch County, and I appreciate the administrators there very well. Thank you very much for allowing me to post my comments and my live streams when they're going to be happening. I made a comment there that appeared to a couple of people, it appeared as if it was a "I told you so" at the time when folks had died, not having any compassion for the people's lives. And that's far from the truth. That's far from what I meant. When I posted last year about the Palm Sunday tornadoes that happened, and in that post, you can find it, and I'm sure the administrators have got it. They can get access to it. But in that post, it talked about how history repeats itself, how tragedy can sometimes repeat itself. And those twin twisters, it was catastrophic damage that was done to Branch County, Coldwater Lake, Kinderhook. I mean, it was catastrophic. Back then, they didn't have cell phones to warn you. Back then, they had just have a radio and then the TV, and mostly the radio, if you had a radio to listen to. And if you were outside, and you you could forget it. Now, the tornadoes that happened on Friday, I watched the video, which I'm sure most of you have also, of over in Three Rivers. You couldn't see any vortex. It was like a whirlwind when it started. And because you couldn't see any vortex, there was rotation, and some of the cell phones were issuing tornado warning in the Three Rivers area. What we were told by folks that they seen the warning on their cell phones, but they're looking around thinking, "Where's the tornado?" And it had just started. And of course, the vortex came down. It's typically visible, but this time it wasn't. And one of the reasons for that being is the climate change in our atmosphere. I mean, we have lakes that still have ice on them. A lot of them are now melted pretty decent right now, to the point to where the ice is going away. But we've seen the video. You've seen out there in Union City. We've seen the video there at Union Lake. There was plenty of ice still on the lake when this tornado hit. And to prove to you that this is an incredibly unusual event, I'm going to read to you what I found. Now, in these tornadoes hit March 6th of 2026. And we can go back to March 28th of 1920. That was the next earliest tornado compared to this. Where's March 6th? The next one that hit was March 28th of 1920. And then we go back all the way to 1880 when tornadoes hit in the Michigan area on April 14th. So this is the first time since 1880 that a tornado has hit our area in Michigan this early, breaking into spring. Now, this is what I'm telling you. I'm a 14-year Bible prophecy student. I'm a 14-year Bible prophecy studier and student, and have studied under John Walvoord Ministries out of, who was a professor at Dallas Theological Seminary. He's passed away. He's long gone. He was a pastor at the church in Dallas. We have a ministry that we do Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. at our Prophecies of the End Times Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our Rumble channel, and there'll be more that'll be added. I'm telling you, folks, that we have entered a phase of weather patterns that is incredibly unusual. Part of that is polar vortexes in the way they were situated, and then a earlier than normal La Nina and El Nino effects, and lasting longer. So that brings me to this, prayers going out to the families of those who lost their loved ones, the outpouring of the support of the community. I mean, I could show video tonight, and I don't want to because it's all over Facebook. We've seen it 100 times. Fox 17, Fox was there. Fox 17 was there. Channel 3, WNDD, or Channel 22 down in South Bend. They're all there covering this. And it doesn't give the families any rest of seeing that over and over and over and over and over. If they're looking at it or watching it, doesn't give them any rest. So, and I just received information from my daughter before coming on Facebook on the live stream that the folks were following the little parrot that was in the cage that was one of the surviving pets of the lady who passed away, and she was taking the parrot to the vet, and it didn't make it. So the parrot's gone too. Poor thing looked like it was incredibly traumatized. This brings me to this. When I posted about these twin tornadoes that happened in 1968 and told folks that history has a tendency to repeat itself, on March 6th of 2026, it repeated itself. Catastrophic tornado out of nowhere. Nobody knew basically it was coming. There was alerts that were put on phones, and if you didn't have a phone, you didn't know. And you did not have a whole lot of time to prepare for this. One of the biggest things of it is that who's preparing, who's getting ready. We know that springtime comes, and and tornado season pops in there, and we're all accustomed to knowing, okay, we're looking at around the April to May timeframe where tornadoes could hit. Who's preparing for a tornado when you still got ice on the lake? Nobody. But that's how strange and abnormal this year's weather pattern is going to be. Now, mark my words, we're not over anything out of this stuff yet. This summer is going to be rough. That's my prediction. This summer's going to be rough. So prepare yourself. And even if it's not, and I'm dead wrong, you're prepared. Water, food, making sure your will is written out, preparing, make sure you got to set aside some money that you might need. If something happens to a loved one and you got to be able to help them out. I mean, let's be prepared for the worst. And I'm not the only one that's saying this. Let me share an article with you from the Detroit News. At least 3 tornadoes touched down on Friday afternoon. The confirmed tornadoes ranged in intensity from EF0 to EF3. The weakest, with winds of 85 miles per hour, occurred in Calhoun County between Tecumseh and Homer. The strongest reaching 150 miles per hour, which struck the area around Union Lake and Union City, unfortunately killing 3 people. Another confirmed tornado, rated an EF2, produced peak winds of 130 miles per hour near Three Rivers, Michigan. It says the Cass County Sheriff's Office also reported receiving information suggesting that a possible tornado touched down in the 68,000 block of Conrad Road in Milton Township, outside of Edwardsburg. 12-year-old boy was later died from injuries suffered during the storm. Let's pray. Make sure we pray for that family. Picture of over the of the Union Lake, Union City. Take every potential threat seriously. Look, I want you to see that. Look at that. Bunning said Storm Prediction Center officials learned from every event, and he wants to see all the information from the damage surveys that the National Weather Service teams are completing. He says it's a big challenge to forecast these extremely localized events. He goes on to say, he said that when severe weather is in the forecast, it's important to take every potential threat seriously. If you're a citizen just wondering, what should I plan for today? Any risk of severe storms is important to take seriously, whether it's a higher end risk or a lower end risk, he said. Brandon Lewis, Macomb County's Director of Emergency Management and Communications, said the tornadic weather is obviously tragic. He said it was even more potentially dangerous because no tornado watch was in effect. Now, some of you, like me, some of you may subscribe on YouTube to Michigan Storm Chasers. Excellent channel on YouTube, and you can have them out and running on your cell phone as soon as we learn that there might be potential weather and threat of potential weather. And then another one is Max Velocity. Those two are probably, and y'all, another guy calls himself y'all. But Max Velocity and Michigan Storm Chasers are the top 2 that I see that are on YouTube. We watch Max Velocity, and we knew that there was a possibility. Max was talking about the possibility of these storms moving in towards the Northwest and the Middle West and up into northern Michigan, southern lower Michigan. So I knew ahead of time it possibly could happen. And so, I'm serious. Even though I knew about it, I had laid down and taken a nap on Friday afternoon. And when I woke up, the sirens are going off in Coldwater. And that's when the tornado was hitting over in Union City. And so I had no idea why are the sirens going off? Oh, and then it clicked. Max said there might be a possibility of severe weather. So I got online and I'd seen it, and boom, right there it was. Confirmed down on the ground. And I went back and watched his video, and he was warning about the possibility of that 35 to 40 minutes ahead of time. They were tracking the tornado, and they use sophisticated weather software, just like any other weather alert system does. But they're dedicated all the time. That night, max at velocity, and so was Michigan Storm Chasers. They were on for like 8 or 10 hours live. It's free. It could save lives. It could save your life. It could save my life. So be prepared for this type of thing this season and all seasons hereafter. Let's not let let's not let another tragedy come our way where lives are lost. Now, I'm not in no way, shape, or form am I implicating or making an accusation that these folks who lost their lives weren't prepared or they didn't have some type of app. They didn't have a cell phone. I don't know if they did or they didn't. All I'm trying to say is that this is a wake up call for Branch County. It is a wake up call for our citizens of Coldwater to make sure that we are prepared and go up and beyond the call of duty of being prepared for your family, making sure that there's some type of food source. If that type of F3 tornado had gone through downtown Coldwater, what do you think the odds would have been? What would have happened if it would have went straight down US 12 down Coldwater? We've been out of power for weeks. We would have been out of power for weeks. And so you're going to eat off the food for 24 to 48 hours out of your refrigerator. The power's out. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't get any money out of the ATM. You got to have stuff ready and be prepared. So a lot of folks don't think about that kind of stuff, that it could possibly happen. This year, it's very unusual. So I'm really emphasizing to you, just as a citizen, a fellow citizen, friend, commadre, whatever, it's going to be serious, and take it serious. Every minor threat. I don't care if it's straight line winds. I don't care if it's a thunderstorm. Take it all serious and be ready. Be ready for such things to happen. And that way we're not having to go to, multiple funerals and saying goodbye to loved ones that could have been saved. I've been through a couple of tragedies. I've been through a 6.9 earthquake that hit Silmar in California, and then I've been through the Whittier Narrows earthquake that was 6.0 and was it was a shaking like this. Most earthquakes have a rolling. They do a rolling like everything goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down. The Whittier Narrows earthquake was just as if somebody was taking the earth and shaking it. I mean, it was, and it shut down. We had to leave our apartment. We had to leave there, and we weren't allowed to go back in. We weren't even allowed. We grabbed what clothes we were wearing in the morning, getting ready for work, and what money I had in my pocket, and what my fiance had on her. That was it. I was safe enough to grab the keys to the car before we left the apartment. We were standing at the door, looking out at the pool, watching the pool do this as if somebody was dropping bowling balls in the pool. The water was splashing up. Got out to the front of the apartment building, looked up to the San Gabriel Mountains, and you could see rocks. I mean, the San Gabriel Mountains are right there. Dirt all coming off from the San Gabriel Mountains. The earthquake shook the mountains. Across the street, there was a Best Buy, only was called a Federated. Across the street, demolished. Roof gone, and building collapsed. And the earthquake hit before anybody had opened up. So there was nobody in there. And we spent 4 days in our car across the parking lot, in that parking lot, with the Red Cross, who fed us. And of course, we had nowhere to take baths or clean up. And then got the word from the people who were involved in checking the structural aspects of the buildings, got the word that, you know what, this building is too structurally damaged. You're going to have to move. And so you got to pull out a couple $1,000s out of your pocket to move into a new area, a new apartment building or somewhere new where, and hopefully get in. And there was a housing crisis back in the 80s in California then. Imagine what it's like now. So I've been through certain things like that, tragedy that you might want to say, catastrophic events that it gets etched into your mind. and you become more prepared and you become more willing to let other folks know, to be serious about it. It could be you, involved in uh, a serious aspect. It could be your home, could be your family member. So, and nothing really doesn't hit home hard enough until it is us. It's one of us, and so I would ask that as a community, and we have a moment of silence. We say a prayer for the families that are involved and their loved ones that are gone. Want to thank Union City and all the volunteers, everybody who pitched in and helped thus far. The Coldwater scam gentleman who is running the Facebook page and who's involved in the lawsuits. He was there yesterday, sent me 12, 13 pictures from his daughter's phone, and showing some of the stuff that was going on downtown. So let's be serious about it, folks. Really seriously. I don't want to have to get back on here later on this year and continue to reiterate these things. And the next time it could be real serious. And so we have to, not that this wasn't serious enough. I mean, it could be real serious. The loss of life, when we get 20, 30, 50, 100 people, we lose. It's just catastrophic. You can't think in your mind fast enough how to deal with it. And so as a community, we do come together. Union City came together, Branch County came together, and that's just awesome. The outpouring of all the support and all the things that are given, the food that was donated. And again, of course, there was donations that are being taken to you could watch the video, the press conference with Fred Barker and our sheriff, and he gives you two places where you can give money. Beware of any of the scams that are online. If people trying to take money, donate to a reputable business that you know where the money's going to go. Of course, always the Red Cross too. All right, so thank you so much. Then I had no comments came off our broadcast. Oh, there is one other thing too that I want to mention. I almost forgot. We are would like to you would like to be sponsored on our live stream, Like I said, doesn't cost you a dime. Now, if you decide that you want to throw me a bone or buy me a T-bone steak, or you say, "Hey, Mike, there's a gift in the mail to you for a gift card to go out to eat at Applebee's or whatever," I won't turn it down. So, but I don't charge any money for what we do. So, and the reason why I don't, well, I don't know. I just don't feel right doing it. But if you want to bless me with something, I'll take it. All right. So we'll leave it at that. So thanks for tuning in once again. Next Sunday, more than likely, next Sunday will be another live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.